sound here.
Maybe turn it down a hair.
Tanisha, turn it down a little bit more, please.
3, 2, 1.
All right, we're back in the garage. It's Thursday night. We are sitting here at the Craft Emporium. We want to continue to thank the Craft Emporium for hosting us every week. Got a nice crew in here. Not quite the biggest crew we've had. We got some the crew members are out in Las Vegas enjoying this weekend of football. Certainly want to thank Top of Ohio Radon, Paul Newland, very generous, great friend that has supported us in this garage sports venture from day one. He's probably been one of my biggest allies from the moment that I told him about this vision. Top of Ohio Radon, Paul will come to your house and give you a very thorough test of your radon figures. Give him a call at 937-935-2806. Radon is a silent killer, second leading cause of lung cancer. Get Paul out to your place. Make sure that you're in good shape. If you're not, he'll take care of you and get you right. Here with longtime guest host Skylar Mifsud and Craft Emporium owner and founder Brian Harmon. Guys, always good to sit down with you guys. We've done this in my garage. Skylar, we've done it at BHS.
Been going for a while now. 3rd year, 4th year.
Yeah, ready for maybe the best weekend of football ever.
Has to be up there.
Historic.
We waited for this for a long time. It's actually already underway. I like this. I'm a big fan of this setup. Starting on Thursday night with all the football we got to get in this weekend. Let's get it started on Thursday. We're already in a throwback game here with Notre Dame and Penn State. Penn State's up 3-0. Penn State looked like they were going to score. Drew Aller with a little bit of an errant pass there, kind of had an easy score and settled for a field goal. How do we feel about this game, Coach Mifsud?
Both defenses are, showing that they're living up to what a lot of people thought. Been tough moving the ball on offense. Notre Dame's quarterback had a pick on their second drive, right?
Long third down.
Yeah, and Penn State had a bonehead mistake fielding a punt at the 2-yard line, fair catch call there, so back them up. Low-scoring game. I like Notre Dame to win this game.
That's rare for you because the public is all over Notre Dame. You usually fade the public.
I do. I just think Notre Dame's running attack will catch up to Penn State at some point. Penn State has a good running game too, but I like Riley Leonard running the ball late, and their defense forces a lot of turnovers.
You've been on the under from day one,
Yeah.
so this does not surprise you. Kind of what you've seen is what you expected. Harmon, how do you feel about where we stand?
Keith Jackson would call this a slobber knocker. It's kind of what we thought, two really good defenses that rely on the running game to move the ball, and it's going to be tough sledding. I think it's one of these games going to come down to field position. It's going to come down to turnovers, who can take advantage, and so far Penn State's got the edge. But I'm with Skylar. I've been on Notre Dame all week, and I still think this is probably playing into their hands.
As an Ohio State fan, who would you prefer to play?
Notre Dame.
Why?
I don't like playing teams twice in a year. I think it always gives the loser an advantage. Even though we toughed one out in their place earlier in the year, I don't like it. Not that I think Notre Dame's any easier. I think they're both formidable opponents, but I'd take Notre Dame if I had a preference.
I would take Notre Dame too. Kind of what Harmon said, I don't really want to play Penn State again. 2 Big Ten teams doesn't really feel like a big-time national title game.
Be a nice little shot across the bow to the SEC.
It would.
'Cause I had to sit and watch an all SEC final a few times.
Alabama, Georgia, and they made it out to be the biggest game ever.
Alabama,
multiple times.
LSU, I believe, was like 9-6, if I remember right. It was a few field goals to a few field goals.
Horrid. But you made the joke earlier, if it's Penn State, Ohio State, to play this game at noon, right?
Yeah, just kind of shot at all the Big Ten teams.
Everybody be comfortable. Right.
Well, let's play it on Sunday because we were talking. It's going to be on Martin Luther King Day, is that right? And, why not bump that thing back a day and make it on Sunday? A lot of people are off work. Certainly us three all at the table are off work to some degree. Harmon might come in, but we could all sleep in that day, but
Yeah.
that's for another time.
The one thing I'm grateful for is they've bumped the time back at least.
Yeah.
There used to be an 8:30 start, which really means 8:52.
And a
Now it's
4-hour game.
Yeah,
Right.
now it's a 7:30 start.
Yeah.
I got to think that ESPN is salivating at an Ohio State Notre Dame national championship.
Dream come true.
Yeah, I mean,
Two of the
it's-
largest alumni in the United States, and just, yeah.
the ratings will be through the roof. I'm not sure. It's a good question. What would be their marquee matchup? Is that one? Ohio State, Notre Dame. Ohio State's whoever it is. It's someone in Ohio State and that's not just me being a homer, being an Ohio State grad. Ohio State is the team for ratings, and the ratings have proven that.
Yeah, that's not biased. That's data.
Is Alabama? I know Alabama doesn't have quite the following, but is
Yeah.
it because they've been so good? If it was Nick Saban, Alabama, maybe in his heyday, they'd like that.
I think football heads would, but if you're really talking about the casual observer, the at-home parties, this is the matchup. The Ohio State Notre Dame. I don't think it gets bigger than that across the country.
I think looking at ticket prices, they correlate, right? And the first playoff game to get into the Notre Dame game, it was minimum $600, and to get into the Penn State game was $28. So
Well, the only thing there is Notre Dame was playing an in-state team in
True.
Indiana,
No, that's fair.
who was doing something good for the first time ever. So
Yeah.
looking ahead to tomorrow, obviously tomorrow will be a day in Ohio, I would guess, and maybe a lot of places where not a lot will get done. There's going to be a lot of people looking for tomorrow night's matchup. We're 24 hours approximately out. How do we feel about the Buckeyes' chances versus the Longhorns?
Well, I think Texas defense is going to be much better than what we've seen. Oregon's defense was not great, but the counterpoint to that is Arizona State just scored 34 on Texas.
Late.
Late, yes. Going into overtime helps that. Their defensive line could cause the offensive line problems. The offensive line for Ohio State's played incredible the last couple of weeks.
Now, someone told me, and correct me if I'm wrong, that Ohio State's offensive line did not grade out very well last week. It felt like they played well, but it was maybe Varner that told me that the PFF, when they did the grades, that was by far the worst unit.
Well, it could be true, but then it's on the coaches are calling a good game plan
Right.
to hide them. So,
Absolutely.
can they hide them against Texas defensive line? We'll see.
Yeah, I guess the question is, you said better than Oregon's. Is it a better defense than Penn State? Is it a better defense than Michigan?
No, it's a short answer.
So a good defense, but something that Ohio State has seen. Now, certainly Michigan, you start bringing them up. The Ohio State offense didn't look very good against them. And Penn State, what was that score? That was fairly low scoring too, wasn't
It was one score.
It was in the teens, I believe.
So yeah, I mean the scary thing for the Ohio State fans is that an elite defense still can bring out the warts of the Ohio State offense.
Yeah, Day and Kelly are rhythm play callers. They like to set things up. They like to move, and a lot of 3 and outs will certainly disrupt that. If we go into this thinking this is going to be over in the first quarter, like the last 2 games, it's going to be pretty tense for us.
Part of this is superstitious a little bit, I guess you'd call it. I don't ever love hearing that we just can't lose. This has been a little over the top with Ohio State. That now the national media, they've crowned us, and that makes me really nervous. There's no such thing as just you have to win 4 straight games, and yes, the first 2 looked as good as really they could have. But to think that Ohio State's just going to continue to destroy the next 2 opponents, I don't buy that.
No.
And I also just believe in bad luck. And I think Ohio State had some bad luck in the games that they lost. Mm-hmm. I worry that if Ohio State struggles, they have shown that they can have a little bit of a mental block at times. Even against Oregon, it felt like there were some things where you just underachieved. Could that demon resurface at the worst time? That's what scares me.
When they've played their best, Will Howard has played his best. And Will has shown at times to turn sour. And things can go bad. He can make really bad throws. He can make really lousy decisions. He can turn the ball over. If things go bad for Will Howard, things will go bad for Ohio State.
Yeah, no, that's agreed. And I was definitely a guy that didn't really believe in Will Howard really until the last 2 weeks.
Yeah,
I don't
he's
think
played
anybody
exceptional.
could've.
Yeah.
But I do have concerns that Texas will have a good game plan for Jeremiah Smith, which that's easier said than done. But there are absolutely some things they can do to say, look, you're not going to just let him run, because at times he was just wide open against Oregon.
Crazy.
Certainly some blown assignments in there. If they are able to take him away with the Ohio State run game and then the Ohio State more vertical passing game with the O-line, protect them well enough to get into the rest of their offense. I don't know. I feel good, but I don't have any delusions of grandeur like the Buckeyes are just going to roll.
Me neither. No, me neither. I am mentally prepared for a physical, tough football game tomorrow.
One thing that I feel confident in is that Texas is going to score quick. There's a percentage that I saw of Sark scoring on his first and second drives is an incredible rate, and then their offense kind of fizzes out. So the plays that are scripted, they're doing great. I mean, you remember the Arizona State game, watched it in your
It
garage.
looked over.
Looked like it was,
3-play drive, then a 4-play drive, and then I think it went to overtime at 17 all. So they scored 14 points in 7 plays and then only scored 3 points the rest of the game.
Yeah.
So, like you guys are both saying, how does Ohio State battle if Texas were to go up 7-0, go up 14-0?
Yeah, I feel like there's more pressure on Ohio State than there is Texas. You know, Ohio State still has the pressure that they
Get some sleep, Birdie.
I'm sorry, Birdie, it's going to be all right. You know, I feel like that Texas doesn't have the kind of pressure that we have. Sark is still early in his career. They're kind of overachieving. But, hey, I'm a guy that, you know, my buddies, longtime buddies can tell you that there was years that Ohio State beat Michigan by 50 points, and we would go into those Saturdays, the Denard Robinson days, and I was a nervous wreck those Saturdays.
I was at that game. It was pitiful.
Yeah, so I remember Varner telling me, look, they can't lose this game, and it still made me nervous.
I'll never believe that.
I know how much it hurts, but I'm excited. I'm really pumped. It's going to be tough to stay focused tomorrow at school. That, you know, just knowing that have we ever gotten off work and had a huge Ohio State game? I don't think that's ever happened, right? National championships. Yeah, okay. We went to work on those days. That does sound right. Maybe not the next day, but
Got an interesting stat plugged in from one of our loyal listeners, Dalton Mossberger. Will Howard last year against Texas, 26 for 41, 327 yards and 4 touchdowns.
he's played the Longhorns. Yeah, I hadn't thought of that. So yeah, not his first time
No, he's never beat them,
facing
right?
the Longhorns.
He's never beat them, but he's played well.
Correct. He didn't have the supporting.
Yeah,
personnel.
absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Well, you know, we'll obviously everybody will be locked in, and it's exciting. Hoping for the best. The good news is, regardless of what happens tomorrow, that's only the beginning of this incredible weekend. So we're going to look ahead here to this NFL stuff, which brings us to something I was advertising a few hours ago. Harmon, you have graciously volunteered to donate a $25 gift card to the Craft Emporium for anybody. We've already had a few people putting their picks in. Anybody that's listening, Coach Buck has already put in the lines, because that's important. We're not just picking winners here. We're picking against the line. We have Tampa Bay as a -3, Minnesota as a -2, the Bills as -8.5, Philly 4.5-point faves, the Chargers 2.5-point faves, and the Ravens 9.5. So as we go through and talk here, people are going to make their picks. We will tally up the results for the week, and then next week, you know, we'll have another round of games and on until the Super Bowl. Whoever makes the most picks correct, Harmon's going to give a $25 gift card to the Craft Emporium. So looking ahead, those games start Saturday, I assume at noon, 1 o'clock. Maybe not. No, there's only 2 games on Saturday, so 4:30. So Saturday afternoon, Chargers, LA Chargers, which is good that they're on the road with all the fires and stuff going on, heading to Houston to take on CJ Stroud and the Texans. The Chargers are a 2.5-point road fave, which I personally agree with. Get your opinion, Skylar Mifson.
Herbert has looked incredible this year with Harbaugh.
In control.
In control. The run game's going well with Harbaugh. You know, he brought some of the same philosophies from Michigan of just being tough.
Dobbins
resurgence, yeah. And the Texans haven't looked great. First off, they lost Tank Dell. They lost Stephon Diggs. Those obviously have hurt. But even when they're healthy, Stroud is definitely going through a slump this year and has not looked like he did as a rookie. And, that's concerning. Their defense is still playing solid, but the Chargers' defense is also very good and could cause some problems.
Is Jim Harbaugh, I know he's not going to win it, but could you make a good argument Jim Harbaugh's coach of the year in the NFL? Or are the Chargers too talented?
They weren't very good last year.
But it was a talented team.
It was.
Didn't we feel like the Chargers underachieved? I mean, Brandon Staley
For sure.
was pitiful.
For sure. But not just putting together wins, but changing the culture there and getting buy-in. That's not easy to do from college to the NFL. Sometimes those guys look to you as being the rah-rah guy. It's not going to work. Harbaugh's done a phenomenal job with this team.
Do you find yourself liking Harbaugh more now that he's not at Michigan? Is that kind of obvious?
Yeah. He doesn't irritate me as much.
Yeah, that's exactly right. He irritated me when he was Michigan's coach.
He seems more mature and professional as a Charger than he did Michigan.
Agreed.
He seemed a little antagonizing.
Yeah, he always needled us.
Yeah.
He still brings some of the weirdo stuff.
Yeah,
He's a weird guy.
But even the NFL players buy into it, which tells you
They
that
absolutely buy into it.
Dobbins and Bosa love him, which tells me a lot.
that they respect him. And
Absolutely.
He's a great coach.
Yeah, I think
he's a bad dude. I mean, he really is.
Absolutely.
A bad dude. He is an absolute stud. I mean, he was an incredible quarterback for his time. I know he wasn't like I think he was an all-pro quarterback at one point.
Yeah.
He's
Pro
a
Bowl,
throwback type player. I have a tremendous amount of respect for him and his brother. Like, I think they are incredible. And, yeah, it absolutely bothered me, especially as they started beating us late in his run. I do want to remind people that he was 0-5 versus the Buckeyes. Was it 0-5 or was it it should have been 0-6 had he not canceled that game. But I actually respect him for canceling that game because he did what was best for Michigan.
Now, he also cheated.
He did cheat.
And some guys would say, hey, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
Right.
And the greatest of all time, Bill Belichick, was known to stretch the rules and cheat. We don't look at it the same way. But,
Who is going to win Coach of the Year?
Well, isn't it Dan Campbell? Or is it O'Connell?
Kevin O'Connell.
Yeah,
probably.
O'Onnell. I mean,
What he's able to do
with Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
But I mean,
probably.
to me, it's Dan Campbell. I that's if I had a vote. They haven't given Garage Sports any kind of votes yet.
Well,
I have been waiting on that.
It's
I feel
young.
like-
We're young.
Requested?
well, I don't know who to request to. NFL, I guess.
President of football. Let's start with the president
Right.
of football.
I do think we should start getting some votes on things. And
Yeah.
if we keep this podcast up and keep getting people to comment, maybe we will. I would go with Dan Campbell. I get why you go O'Connell, and obviously I said Harbaugh, but Dan Campbell has done a hell of a job. That Detroit is a machine. And if they would win the Super Bowl, which, I mean, certainly is to be played out, you talk about just Detroit they haven't won a title in the 40s.
Well, and how he's built that team the old-fashioned way, right? They went back to the roots. They drafted guys. They've made the right selections for the right positions. Each position unit feels like it has attention, and they want to be strengths everywhere. Dan Campbell could coach my team every day of the week. He's amazing.
It's been nice in a age of football that has become so quarterback centric that it feels like there's starting to be a pushback with some throwbacks.
Yeah.
And you see it right here with Notre Dame and Penn State.
Yep.
That you're starting to see some teams that are more classically built and classically run that are finding a lot of success.
Even in the age of, the run and shoot, some of these guys said this is a game that is still about blocking and tackling. Even at all the X's and O's, this is still a game about blocking and tackling, and maybe that's just what we're seeing, is that stretching back to the fundamentals. It matters.
Do we? So I guess we've talked a lot about a lot of things, not so much about the Chargers and Texans. I'll go ahead and get the party started. I am all over the Chargers -2.5. I feel strongly about that pick.
They're superior in my mind in almost every way, and yes, I would take that. I would take the Chargers at a higher. I'd take them -6.5.
I haven't heard anybody talk about him. I'm taking the Texans.
Oh,
There he is.
To your point,
He's back.
I haven't heard anybody talk
Is
about
the public
giving them
on
a
the
chance.
Chargers?
I have no clue. I mean,
oh, stop.
I count you two as public, so
We're good representatives of the general public.
yeah, Texans at home. Everybody said the same thing last year when the Browns went
Well,
there,
that's true.
and said the Browns are going to beat this Texans team, and the Texans blew the doors off of them.
They did.
So I'm gonna take the +2.5 at home. They don't have to win; they just got to lose by less than 2.
Well, yeah, I gotcha. Well, it'd be interesting. So then the nightcap, amazing that feels like this happens every single year in the J-Mo Clemens in. Nice. Glad to see you, J-Mo. See you tomorrow. The Steelers and Ravens. Feels like this happens a lot. Maybe it doesn't. I'm surprised at how big this line is, and I'm a Baltimore Ravens guy. Not that I'm a fan, but I believe in them. I don't believe in the Steelers, but it feels like a fat line, 9.5 for two old nemesis.
Baltimore won by 17 the last time they played in Baltimore.
Lost the first time though, right?
Lost by 2 the first time. The Steelers have not looked.
So
as-
1-1.
They are 1-1 at Baltimore though, lost by 17, and the Steelers have not looked like the first 10
Lost
weeks.
4 straight, something like that.
Tough schedule. They played at the Ravens, at Philly, home against the Chiefs.
You
at
predicted
Cincy.
this.
I did. I said they're going to go in 4. Told Coach Kennedy they're
Yep.
going to go in 4, and they did because they're not very good. Russell Wilson's starting to show his true colors a little bit. Pickens has kind of gone off the deep end a little bit. He had 4 drops the other night, I believe, and it was incredible.
Yeah.
He's an
perform-
idiot.
Yeah, he's an
I
idiot.
mean, he is an idiot.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want him on my team.
No. And TJ Watt hasn't been what he has been.
Is he
He's still
hurt?
good. I think he's playing through stuff, but so is everybody. He just hasn't been the defensive player of the year caliber. I mean, he just lost it. He was the favorite up till they went on this stretch, and he's now lost that.
What about the 9.5 though? You don't like you just
If it was, I think they can win by 10. I'm going to take it because I have the hook. If it was 10 or 10.5, I'd probably take the Steelers, but I'm going to take the Ravens to cover 9.5.
Steelers just feel a little broken right now, and on a slide, it's hard to see them breaking against the Ravens, right? If they were entering the playoffs playing the Texans or somebody like that, you might say, well, this is maybe where things get turned around, but I just don't think you talked about the Harbaugh guys. John Harbaugh is one of the absolute best in the business, and yeah, I take the Ravens even at this 9.5.
What Jay said does scare me. Nose Flowers is a problem for the
you got
Ravens.
hurt last week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The knee, I believe. Jay, correct me if I'm wrong. Not sure if it's a long-term injury, but Andrews can still get it done. Derrick Henry. I mean, you got to count on Derrick Henry in the playoffs.
Well, yeah, I would hope so. The width of the line is what intimidates me, but I do believe in Lamar Jackson. I do believe in the Ravens, John Harbaugh, Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I do not believe in Russell Wilson. I've never believed in Russell Wilson. I've been betting against him for years.
Mr. Unlimited.
I would not want him within anywhere near a team that I rooted for, which the only team I root for is the Nashville Outlaws. And actually, he was a former member of the Nashville Outlaws, and I got rid of him quickly.
cut him.
I traded him, but had to get rid of him.
Is there a chance Justin Fields plays in this game?
Oh, it doesn't feel like that, does it? I mean,
They've even gone away from the running
Special
schedules.
packages
they
and stuff.
buried him. Yeah, that would be desperation, I would say. I wish Justin Fields was playing. My interest in the game would be increased if he was, but I'm probably on the Steelers reluctantly, just because I
Line's
feel,
too big.
Yeah, I
For an
just feel
NFL
like
game, it's
somehow
big.
this game ends up being close. But
Yeah.
I definitely would probably like to tease it up a little bit, fatten it up to like 14 and a half, and I feel really good. Sunday brings 3 games. First game, this is a team that I would love to pick if they were playing anyone but the Buffalo Bills. The Bills are giving up 8.5 at home versus the Denver Broncos. I would have loved to come on here and said I'm taking the Broncos in an upset, but it can't be against the Bills because I feel like it's the Bills' time.
I am going on vacation here in a few weeks with some of our best friends, the Bazlewskis. They are Buffalo Bills.
Are there listeners?
They
Bazlewskis?
probably will be once they hear this. They're Buffalo Bills season ticket holders. I'm not betting against the Bills. No one circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills or the Bazlewskis, and I'm going with the Bills.
Rookie quarterbacks against quarterbacks that have played in the playoffs don't cover 67% of the time.
There's the kind of
So I
stats
brought
we
you
like.
on.
That's
So I
right.
brought you on. You're the only guy
I talk
in
about
town who can do that.
Bazlewskis. He brings out stats.
Bills minus 8.5. Yeah, I like it. Anything under 10, I think. Josh Allen is the MVP for a reason. I mean, they got rid of talent, and he's still doing what he's doing with. I mean, he doesn't have a great receiving core. That's one thing they're really missing, and he's still being so productive. So, yeah, I can't take Bo. And I'm one of the biggest Bo Nix fans there is. I've gone on this show.
You have.
And when he progresses in his career, we'll remember this, but I can't take him on the road at Buffalo.
Would it be a game you'd like to tease up a little bit though? Like you could get it to 14.5 without.
I'm more of a 13-point teaser. Get him at 21.5. Sounds right.
That's a super tease. Yeah. Well, I would say it's safe. I bet it's a competitive game. I think Sean Payton will have a good plan. I would guess that the Bills pull away late.
Yeah.
Is there a weather issue? I mean,
I
it feels
just
like in
checked.
Buffalo there
No.
always will be.
No snow blizzard coming.
Gotcha. Yeah. The 4:30 game, Green Bay travels to Dow McDonald's, Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles are 4.5-point faves. This feels like a game to me that's a lot closer than 4.5. Now, you're going to immediately say Jordan Love is hurt. What's the update?
Well, I'm going to say Jalen Hurts got cleared, which is a big piece of news.
It
He
is.
full participant today in practice.
Yes.
Well, I assume that with the 4.5.
And then, Jordan Love in a game that he only played half the game because he got hurt. They didn't really need that game. His elbow, I think, could be a real problem for them. And they just lost Christian Watson for the year.
I didn't realize that.
Tore his ACL on Sunday in that game. So
Well, nobody ever knows who the Packers are throwing
That's a fact,
to.
so-
If you ever bet on props or fantasy.
That's a fact.
Wicks is the guy that's going to take his place, I believe, and get those targets. So.
And has at times even
And-
with him there.
Yeah, and has gone stone cold sober when he's out. And it's so hard to guess who they're going to throw it to that game.
Yeah, they feel a little bit like a Chiefs thing going on that like you don't know. Sometimes there were a few years ago where you had no idea who was going to touch the ball. I don't know. There's something about the Eagles, though, that still scares me. It feels like they've been in this kind of weird mode. I know maybe they've gotten out of it. They were that mid-season. They had some strife with A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts. And
They fixed that, and they fixed it quick.
at the end of the day, they're going to turn and hand the ball off. And,
Well rested in theory. They didn't play Week 18.
yeah, I mean, Saquon has been, obviously. I mean, everyone knows that. He's been incredible.
And Packers just lost in Chicago and played everybody. Now, Jordan Love got hurt, but
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right. And
Barkley would be my MVP, by the way.
it's been nice, and kind of back to what I said, Barkley and Derrick Henry. Those are throwback seasons. It is. I like an NFL. One of the things I've struggled with is we've become such a quarterback-centric sport.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that, but I like to see a variety.
Yeah.
And I miss our childhood.
Yeah.
Now, Harmon and I are a lot older than you, Skylar, but in our childhood, you had a Dan Marino or a Houston Oilers who were absolute
Yeah.
gun and run, or you had the early days of the Chargers.
Yeah.
And they did that.
Yeah.
But then other teams were ground and pound.
Absolutely.
I like seeing different styles.
The clash of styles, yes.
When everyone tries to be the same way, and that's my theory about the lack of quarterbacks in the NFL, I don't think there's ever been 32 great quarterbacks on earth.
No.
Like NFL elite
not at the
quality.
same time.
But I think what happened in the old days where people didn't try to put it all on their quarterback's shoulder.
Right.
Now in this world of a copycat world of everyone's like, well, we just have to create our team so that our quarterback can carry us to a title. But you don't have to. Now, we still haven't seen many teams that had a subpar quarterback, but maybe a Jared Goff. I mean, would you agree? Jared Goff's, what's he, the 10th, 12th, 14th best quarterback in the NFL?
5th in MVP odds.
If they were drafting quarterbacks around the league,
That's the
what
question.
for one season, where would he go? What would he be picked?
Yeah. 10th.
10th
There
to
you go.
15th?
That's
So
the
he's
question.
not an elite quarterback. He's a good quarterback, and that team, everyone feels like
I think
can win the title.
they have such a balance. They have Gibbs, but they also have a top 10 quarterback.
Yeah,
And they-
they're exactly the team he's talking about, of a team that doesn't require their quarterback to carry him.
Whereas-
And that may very well be the secret to their success because of the balance and the culture,
Whereas the Browns, well, you say, this old school style, but I haven't seen a good quarterback play for the Browns in my lifetime.
and that's why they've sucked.
I've
It
been
is why
watching
they've
good running backs, though. Nick Chubb,
Oh,
Jamal
well,
Lewis.
Sure.
No, but yeah, the Browns have lacked an identity. Unfortunately, they we don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but
Please don't.
They never spent enough time becoming. Detroit built something.
That's right.
And Cleveland could take a page from their playbook, and I know that's not easy to do.
Well, they don't have Dan Campbell.
But they truly built something. Stefanski's plenty good enough. They can win with him.
He is.
They just stuck to a plan and they built it. He's played elite in his role. Well, yeah, I mean, playing elite and being elite are two different things. You can play elite because your team's really good, and then
Well,
you look
he
really
does
good.
really well what they ask him to do.
I agree with Jim. I mean,
Well, you
I
had
think-
him. You had him fifth.
I think
get
a
it.
lot of golf success is where he's at, like you're saying. Ben Johnson is incredible. It's why he gets to choose where he's the next head coach at. He denied every job last year because he said none of these jobs are good enough for me, and he might do it again this year.
Goff,
He's incredible.
Yeah, Goff doesn't lack skill, and he fits that position for that team perfectly.
Yeah,
it's
he's
a
a
great
good quarterback.
fit. It's a great fit.
I guess the point I was trying to make was just you don't have to build through your quarterback.
No, you don't.
Everyone else now tries to build through they put the quarterback first and they say, okay, this is all we really care about.
right.
We'll basically mortgage everything in our system to get the right guy at quarterback, and then we build our team. And you can do it the other way. You can build everything and then find the quarterback that fits that.
Well, and you can make the argument in a salary cap world that's the smartest way of doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Rams proved how they felt about Goff. That and it worked for them. Now,
Sure did.
Now it's working for Detroit, which
Yep.
is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Cody Kessler was elite. Jim, I'm with you. I'm not sure why they got rid of him.
The night game.
We didn't make a pick.
Oh yeah, I'm on the Eagles. I can't. I hate the game. It's a game I'd stay off of if I was like betting, but I'll go Eagles 4.5.
Same.
Yeah, I'd like him to win by more than a touchdown.
Gotcha. Night game. I kind of like this night game. This seems like a fun playoff game
Yeah.
that nobody knows what to expect. You have Jaden Daniels and the Commanders going into Tampa. Tampa's a 3-point fave. This is my upset special, and it's really not even close. Money line Commanders all the way. I think Jaden Daniels goes in and has a legacy rookie type game that we talk about for a long time. I think Baker will have a Baker kind of day where every time we love Baker. Baker does a lot of great things. The Browns wish they still had Baker,
Yeah.
but then he's going to have a Baker game,
Yep.
and I think Jaden Daniels rolls.
Yeah, I'm a Daniels truther. I think he's absolutely the real deal, rookie of the year, all of that. And the Commanders are building something really cool, and you can see the culture change there on the sidelines, and maybe a lot of that has to do with bringing in when you finally find the guy that leads you, that changes everything. I love the +3. I'd take it all day. I think I would take them if it was -3.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I love that line.
And here comes Tampa.
I am taking Tampa. But I'm a Baker truther. You know that. I was excited when the Browns drafted him #1 overall. I'm sad that he left. I get it. He wasn't. The Browns ruin everybody.
You shouldn't get it because they should have kept him.
Well, yes, they ruin everybody though. I think Jaden's best quality is how he's been running the ball, and I think Tampa's defensive line, Vita Vea, guys like that, will slow him down a little bit, and I like the Bucs at home.
Yeah. Obviously, I had Jaden Daniels. I did win a fantasy title. A lot of you here know that. You were some of my
As did I.
of the people. Yeah, we actually both won titles
with Jaden
Yeah, two
Daniels.
different leagues.
That's right.
So I'm a big believer in Jaden Daniels.
Before the next game, can I break some news?
Absolutely.
Riley Leonard is out of the game right now.
Oh
Hurt.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to make a 10-point deficit feel like a lot more.
This kid's been driving him though. He's making throws.
And who is their backup?
Steve Angeli.
And Gelly,
Steve Angeli.
Stephen Gelly.
Yeah.
He's related to your Bills.
the Baslewskis. Yeah.
Lazarus.
Yeah.
That takes us to Monday night, the last game of 6. Minnesota Vikings, a road fave, which now, I don't know, can you still call it a road fave? The game has been moved to Glendale. The LA Fires have forced that game out of LA and to Arizona. Minnesota was already a 1.5 fave. Now they're actually 2. I think I said 1.5. It's moved to 2 points. Minnesota Vikings, Kevin O'Connell, Sam Darnold, kind of one of the stories of the year, go to kind of a fading powerhouse in the Rams and our favorites. How do we feel about that close matchup?
Yeah, I like Minnesota for a variety of reasons. Probably even if this was played in LA, I'd still like the Vikings. I mean, this is as good as the Lions have been. That division wasn't settled until a few days ago. They've played exceptionally well. Darnold has come out of seemingly nowhere to lead this team, and a lot of that's on O'Connell. I'm going Vikings all day.
I'm taking the Rams. It's +2 now. They've already played, and Stafford had a great game against them, and Darnold struggled a little bit. I think that loss last week could just pile on for Sam Darnold. I think we saw some. Now, the Lions had a great game plan for him, but I do think the Vikings are kind of fading, and the Rams are always dangerous with all the weapons they have on offense. Stafford is still a great quarterback in
Yeah.
that system. McVay's still a great coach. I'm taking the +2.
I'm with you. I feel like the Vikings, a little bit like I feel about Baker. I like what Sam Darnold's done. I respect Kevin O'Connell, but it feels like
This is the end.
You are who the back of your baseball card says you are.
Yeah.
And Sam Darnold's certainly way better than people thought, but he's still not. I'm not ready to just go all in on Sam Darnold. I have watched Sean McVay and Matt Stafford find ways to win in the playoffs, so give me them as a road dog. The whole moving the game doesn't mean a whole lot to me. I just don't think professional football, and I don't think LA's stadium, I don't even remember what it's called. SoFi, exactly. It's not exactly Buffalo or KC or the Dog Pound. What did they lose?
Yeah, I agree. 30-20 the last time they played. Rams won.
So I am going Rams. I do want to look ahead. I think it's interesting to look at these odds. So this gets us through the first round. But looking ahead, I wanted to get on record who we thought would play in the Super Bowl. We don't have to talk about who's going to win it. I'm more interested who you think gets through each bracket. AFC is kind of a 3-horse race if you believe Las Vegas, Nevada. KC's +155, the Bills are +250, and the Ravens +280. So basically, Vegas thinks that any of those 3 could come out. Then you've got the Chargers kind of way back at +1,200, the Texans and the Broncos way back at +3,000. Who do you guys like in the AFC?
One of the better's credos is never bet on a streak to end. I'm going with the Chiefs up until the time they don't.
I
It's that simple for me.
I told you about this earlier. I did some futures. I did Bills and Ravens. I didn't touch the Chiefs. I think they're frauds. I think they should have about 6 losses right now. So officially, I will take the Ravens.
Yeah, and I'm going to make it 3 for 3 and go the Bills. I could go with any 3 of those and feel comfortable. I'm always kind of a sucker for their due. I think I've made that mistake probably a lot of times over the years, that when there's a really good quarterback and a really good team that hasn't done it yet, I tend to like them. And I think I've done this now for like 3 straight years with Josh Allen, so I'm going to keep doing it because it's worked so well for me. I like Josh Allen to be his time. I think he's too good. I think Sean McDermott's too good. Greg McDermott, is it Greg? Greg or Sean?
Sean McDermott.
Sean
Their head
McDermott. I said it
coach,
right.
Sean.
Yeah, Sean McDermott. Old wrestler, 2-time state champion. I like the Bills, but yeah, I don't feel great about it. If I had a second pick, I'd take the Ravens. I just don't feel like the Chiefs are good enough to get 3-peat. I know that's, maybe.
I just
Not
hate that it has to
3-peat.
go through Arrowhead.
Yeah.
But I'm with you. I don't believe in them.
I like the Chargers. I told JK, or maybe it was you this today. Chargers at plus 1,200. If I was looking,
great
maybe
value.
I only had $10 left and I was trying to turn it all around, I might throw a little on the Texans.
We'll see if any of these predictions irritate the Clement crowd.
Well, we'll see here at the NFC because they're very biased towards one team. And luckily for them, the Lions are plus 130, so they are the fave and somewhat the overwhelming in the NFC. The Eagles are a little bit back at plus 320. Then it's a big jump back to the Vikings at plus 700, the Packers plus 950, the Bucks 950, and the Rams at 1,200. The NFC is much more packed together, but the Lions kind of have a true favorite role. But no one, even the Rams at 1,200, that's not that far out considering they're the 6th seed. How do we feel about the NFC?
I made a bet on the Lions to win it all in September. They have done nothing to steer me wrong from that. So I'm Lions every step of the way here until they're not.
Part of my futures, I parlayed them all. I'd use the Lions and the Eagles and match them with the AFC guys. But I like the Eagles over the Lions. Saquon, Jalen, those receivers, I think will cause problems for the Lions and end up back in the Super Bowl. Sorry, Clements.
I am absolutely 100% on the Lions. I really like the Bills versus the Lions. I'm not ready to say who wins that, but I've been thoroughly impressed with the Lions for really a long time, and I've kind of found myself being drawn to the Lions. I know a lot of people that root for the Lions. We've got some family members. Of course, the Clement clan is up in arms. They're all Lions people. I like the Lions. I like Dan Campbell. I like Jared Goff. It was certainly not a slight on him. J-Mo wants to know the 9 quarterbacks better than Jared Goff. Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, Jordan Love, Justin Herbert, C.J. Stroud. Those are just the few I can come up with really quickly on the spot while I'm on air. But I do, after I thought about it, I will say Goff is probably closer to 10 than 15.
Yeah.
The more I like,
Yeah.
because guys like Dak Prescott, who may have been definitely not.
Now.
Even Hurts.
Hurts is out.
I'm probably saying no now. Purdy, I'm probably saying no now.
Right.
So yeah, it's probably fair to say he's as high as 8th, 9th, 10th. So that's cool. I'm not hating on him at all. I really like the Lions. David Montgomery's also back. Did you see that?
Yeah.
He kind of indicated that he
Yeah.
would be back.
Yeah.
I think that's huge, even though Gibbs has been awesome in his absence.
Jim Clements says take the Eagles.
Oh, that's Lou Holtz stuff. That's
He's protecting his emotions.
Yeah, he's absolutely just.
We're on to you, Jim.
That's a smoke screen's all that is. But it's also a man that's upwards of 50-some years old
He is.
and has never tasted
He has felt a lot of
Lombardi
pain.
trophy. So
He has felt a lot of
I don't
pain.
blame him for that. I'm the same way with the Buckeyes tomorrow night, even though the Buckeyes have won a lot of games.
This is your year, Jim.
Yeah, I hope so. I'm rooting for them. It'll be fun. The only thing I don't like about the Lions, it does put me in bed with Michigan fans, but I just have to kind of hold my nose and bear it. But so we feel good about the Lions. Not so much. You went Eagles though, right?
I did go
And
Eagles.
then we're split in the AFC. Next week, we are going to have West Liberty Salem head wrestling coach Andy Hardstorn. He's a guy that's from out of the community. He was a really stud wrestler at, I want to say, Reynoldsburg, and went to Ohio University. Was a varsity wrestler there. Was really highly ranked, really good. And I'm not sure. I honestly don't know much more about him. I'm anxious to find out how he got himself to West Liberty, and he's trying to build up their wrestling program. Obviously, a West Liberty alum. I've been interested in watching them. Probably get some of our big crew back next week. It's been a little light in here the last couple weeks. We had the holidays, then we got a Vegas trip, and we got a big day tomorrow. So some people are kind of keeping things close to the vest. You know, it'll be a big night tomorrow, and then big weekend. Look forward to all the football, and as hopefully we're sitting here next Thursday talking about previewing Ohio State versus looking like Penn State more and more, right? What's that score?
10-3.
Okay, so yeah, it's still in doubt. Got anything for us?
What a great time of year, and this is a fun way to participate in it. Thanks for the Clement fan for participating so well on Facebook.
If JMO wins that gift certificate, he's going to have to sell it to his father.
Or maybe a bribe to somebody.
Yeah,
Better grade or something.
We should say that this is probably a 21 or over, just in case that anybody from Liquor Control
Jim
listens.
Clement will be winning that. So.
Yeah.
All right, see you guys next Thursday. Thanks to Craft Emporium. Thanks to Top of Ohio Radon and Paul Newland. See you next Thursday. Where in the hell were all the people with the picks? There's hardly any in there, is there?
Where do I submit my points?
In the chat.
I like them all, so.
Wasn't many, was it? Like 4?
1, 2.